Hello students, welcome to YouTube channel Vidya for Success.
Dear students, in this video, let us study the concept of collection of data. So as you know, for statistical inquiry, we need to collect data. Why? Because statistical inquiry deals with knowing the knowledge or else knowing the truth. So in order to know the truth, in order to gain knowledge, we need to have certain facts collected from the particular field on which you are going to make a survey. So collection of data is of utmost importance. Data what we are collecting, it need to be of high accuracy. If data is not of high accuracy, then the ultimate result will not be of good quality. So that's why data need to be collected in a proper channelized way, or else it is of no use. So collection of data is the first step. It is actually the first step in statistical inquiry, and it is used to collect facts and figures related to the subject for which we are making this survey. And here in collection of data, we will come across three different types of people. Okay, so the one is referred as investigator, another one is referred as enumerator, and the third person is referred as respondents, or also referred as informants. So here let us study who are all these people and what are their duties, how they are going to help us in the collection of data. So what is meant by collection of data? It is nothing but collecting facts and figures related to a particular survey. Okay, so next let us understand who is an investigator. So we need to conduct the inquiry, we need to investigate. So in order to do this investigation, we need some able person who knows, who's having knowledge regarding the area of how to collect the data, from whom to collect the data, what are the techniques that need to be used, what are statistical tools and methods that need to be adopted for analysis of data. So that's very prime importance. So here there will be a person by the name investigator. So who is an investigator? Investigator is a person who conducts a statistical inquiry. Okay. So next is enumerator. So for a statistical survey, let us say that you are conducting a survey, you are meeting, let us say, around 1000 people. Okay, so 1000 respondents you are meeting. So you cannot expect an investigator to meet all 1000 members. It is a difficult thing for him. Okay, and if we consider that he has to meet all 1000 members, then the time taken will be too much, and he has to travel all the distance. That's a very impossible task. So that's why what the best thing can be done is investigator will be employing another person by the name enumerator. Who is an enumerator is nothing but one who collects data on behalf of the investigator. Okay, so who is an enumerator? The person who collects the information for the investigator is called as enumerator. So for the enumerator, he also be imparted with proper skills from the investigator. So investigator will train the enumerators regarding how to collect the data, whom to approach, at what time to approach. All these things will be detailedly studied and imparted to the enumerator. And the final person in this particular journey of collection of data is respondents, also referred as informants. So who is a respondent? Respondents are the persons from whom the information will be collected. Okay, so an investigator wants to make a statistical survey. So he for this particular survey, here let us say he has chosen around 1000 individuals. So he will be taking information from these 1000 individuals. So here there are 1000 respondents are there. Okay, so these are the three important individuals playing important role in the collection of data. Okay, so next for the statistical survey we need to collect the data. Okay, we know that. So data are of two types. Okay, for statistical survey there are two types of data. The first one is referred as primary data, and the second one is secondary data. So whatever, whether it's primary data or secondary data, data are very important. So nowadays for all the businesses, data are the fuel. They are acting as a fuel. So they are powering each and every business. So that's why data need to be collected in a proper way. Next, in primary data, what is meant by primary data? So primary data is nothing but the data collected from the field directly. So the investigator is going to the field, or the enumerator will be going to the field. He or she will be collecting the data. Okay, so since they are collecting the data is first of all original in nature, and they are collected for the very first time, and the accuracy level is very high. Okay, so that's why the primary data is also referred as the first hand data, because they are collected for the very first time. There will be sole intention of collection of data. Yeah, for a particular survey we are collecting the data, so there is a reason for which we are collecting the data. That's why it is referred as a first hand data. Next, the data are the raw materials for the inquiry. That's very, very important. So for our investigation, for our inquiry, we can depend only on the data. So they are the raw materials for our data, which can be later converted into a process. After processing, we can get information. So that's why here data is acting as a raw material. Let us take the example. If an individual or an office collects the data, for what reason? To study a particular problem directly from the field. Okay, so then it will be referred as primary data. For example, Swachh Bharat initiative is there. Okay, so where officers will be, or else investigator will be visiting a particular village, let us say, or else they will be visiting a particular community. So there they will be collecting data from the villagers or from that community dwellers. So these data are referred as primary data. So you are going to the field, from there you are collecting the data, then they are referred as primary data. So what is the definition for primary data? So data which are collected for the first time directly from the field by the investigator is called as primary data. Next, what are the different ways of collecting the primary data? So for all the scenarios, you cannot consider a model to collect the data. It's not going to work. Okay, so you need to consider different ways, methods of collecting data. So for one particular survey, one method is applicable. For another survey, another method may be applicable. So there are 5 different methods of collecting primary data. The first one is direct personal observation. Next, indirect oral observation. Next is information through agencies, mailed questionnaires, and the last one is schedules sent through enumerator. So these are the 5 different ways or methods of collecting primary data from the field. So let us study each one of them in detail. So first one is direct observation method. So please, as you can notice, I have considered an image here on the screen. So here investigator is closely observing each and every individual. Directly the investigator is involved here. He is collecting the data from the field. So how is he collecting the data? He is not having any conversation with the respondents at all. So how can he collect the data? He is just observing them. Okay, that's why it is referred as direct personal observation. Let us say that there is a very good psychiatrist. Okay, so psychiatrist is conducting a particular study. So for this study, he has let us say having around 10 or 15 individuals are there. On them, he is conducting a study. So he will be doing? So he will be studying those patients or persons having some problems with their psyche. Okay, he will be studying them thoroughly. So he will be observing them just, but he is not going to ask them any question. There is no interaction with them. Just he will be observing them. Okay, so this type of way, this way of collecting data just by personal observation is referred as direct personal observation method. Okay, and here the investigator extracts the required information by personal observation of each and every units, and the investigator must be a keen observer. That is very, very important. He need to observe for each and every minute details, or else he might miss out the data. And so he sometimes cross examines the informant sometimes, and respondent and records the information if necessary. In this method, the enumerator may collect biased information. That may be a chance is there. Okay, sometimes he might go wrong because the respondents may be in some situation they may not be revealing their true identity. They may be acting. So in those situations, he might go a little biased. There may be a chance of collecting biased data. But however, the method is less costly. The reason is there will be only one investigator. He will be just observing the respondents, but they are not responding to him. There will be very less number of units on whom you are making the observation. So this particular method is best suited when the number of units to be studied is very less. Okay, but here you can expect higher accuracy, and where the field of inquiry here, it's not a very big large field, a small field, 10 15 individuals will be there, and very confidential data can be collected by this particular format. Okay, and also investigator needs to have sufficient time to undertake this particular exercise, or else it is highly possible. Next, so let us once again go through the definition of this. So in this method, the investigator extracts the required information by personal observation of the units. Okay, this is the direct personal observation method. The second method is indirect oral interview. So what is this indirect oral interview? Sometimes in some surveys it happens, even if you observe the units may not be revealing their true identity. They will not be giving the data out. It will happen. Okay, maybe because the data may be too personal, or else they may be feeling shy, or there may be too many different reasons. So in this situation, what happens is we will be using third parties. We will be using witness. Take the case of certain accidents happening in the cities. So there will be hit and run case. You don't know whether what to say, from the governmental agency side they have to prove it, this particular person has done this crime, but the person who has committed the crime, he is not ready to reveal I did it. So in this situation, what we will do, we will employ witness. There is someone who has seen the crime scene, or else there may be some third party, maybe CCTV camera, or else something else. There will be a person, even an individual can say this, I have seen him riding the two-wheeler, or else driving the car, whatever the thing. So here we are using third parties or a witness. Okay, so in this method we will be using the approach of witness or the third party. So when we are going to use this particular method, under this method, so where the person from whom we need to collect the data, if he is not ready to help us out, then we are going to employ the third party. Okay, so if the informant is not ready to give the information, then we can go by this method. Okay, so here this method is suitable where the area to be studied is very small, and it is used when direct information cannot be obtained. Where the first method is not working, then we can go with this particular method. Okay, so this is with respect to indirect oral information through agencies. This is another beautiful method where number of units are too many and they are scattered in a large geography. Nothing but you cannot reach out to each and every unit. This is difficult, and on a regular basis you need to collect the data. Let us take an example of our lot of news channels. So there will be one head office. So there the anchors and the people who will be every day 24/7, they will be reading the news, they will be collecting the news from the head office, but they will be having too many different correspondents or else different agencies. They will be scattered throughout the geography, throughout the different areas. These correspondents will be collecting data on behalf of the investigator. Okay, so this is the another way where it is difficult for the investigator to reach out to all the places and to get data on regular intervals. Okay, so under this method, local agents or correspondents will be appointed. They collect the information and transmit it to the investigator. Okay, they will send the data back to the investigator. For that they might charge a certain amount. Yes, it's a business. Okay, fine. They may apply any method according to the intensity of the situation. You have seen usually in the news channels, these TV persons who are delivering the news, they will be just going behind the people from whom they have to collect the data. They are not leaving them. So it all depends upon your way of retrieving the data. Intensity all depends upon the correspondence, how he is ready to retrieve the data. And here agents who collect information from the informants are generally, they are referred as correspondents. Okay, and this method is generally adopted in those where the information is to be obtained in a regular intervals from a wide area. So this is the thing with respect to the third method, that is information through agencies. Next, the fourth one is mailed questionnaires. First of all, what is questionnaire? Questionnaire is nothing but a list of questions. Okay. First of all, the investigator will prepare one list of questions, and these questions will be sent to the respondents via mail, because some of the respondents may be living at faraway places. You cannot reach them. So, and also some of the respondents may not like personal interaction. So in these cases, you can go with another way, that is mailed questionnaires. So you will be mailing a set of questions. For these set of questions, the respondents can answer them. Okay, so that's the fourth variety, and the questionnaire is sent to the respondents here, who are expected to write the answers in the space provided. Okay, in the space provided, they have to write the answers in the questionnaire. This is a very economical way, and also it saves lot of manpower, and also it can be spread. This investigation, you can take the investigation to the larger area, wider geography, can cover wider geography with less manpower. Okay, and also there is some trouble. The trouble is that if the respondents are illiterate, if they are not knowing how to write and read, then it will be a big headache. Okay, they will not be responding to your queries. Okay, and in this method many informants may not respond. That's a problem here. And in the case of non-response, follow-up work is essential, very much required. In case if there is an illiterate person who doesn't know how to read and write, it's just a paper for him. He can't understand any questions, and he cannot even respond it to also. So then again you need to call schedules him, you need to send through enumerator personally. Who is an enumerator? So enumerator is nothing but one who collects data on behalf of the last method is, so here we will be sending schedules through him. What is a schedule? Schedule is again list of questions. Let us say I want to conduct a survey regarding whether Chikmagalur is an ideal place to set a big bazaar. Okay, these are else Reliance Mart, like that. So I want to conduct a survey before establishing a business. So what I will be doing, first of all, I will be preparing, the investigator will be preparing a questionnaire. So how many questions? Let us say around 20 questions are there, starting with your name, your age, job, each and everything, like that. Would you like to buy things online or offline? How many times in a week you go for shopping? Like that, each and every questions will be asking. Okay, simple questions. A questionnaire, at the time of preparing the questionnaires, questions should be very specific one. Okay, there are certain constraints are there at the time of creating the question, but these schedules will be sent through the enumerator will go to the field. He will ask these questions to each and every respondents. So personally, the enumerator is investing his time to collect data. So there is the chance of non-response is very low here, because personally the enumerator is going, he will be interacting with the respondents. So this is another best method here. Even if the person is illiterate, you can get the data here. Non-response rate will be very less. But here another drawback with this method is you need enumerators, and enumerators will need to be highly trained one. They need to have lot of skills, because you need to personally interact with the people. Okay, and it's a time consuming, very lot of time consuming. In case if the enumerator is biased, if he is having certain bias toward a particular party, then there is a chance of getting wrong data. Okay, so these are the 5 different methods of collecting primary data. So in this video we have studied why we are going to collect the data, and what are the different types of data, that is primary and secondary data, and what are the different methods of collecting primary data. Thank you.